Well, hello everyone and welcome back to Conan Exiles Age of War Chapter 2. This is just another quick video before Chapter 3 arrives on hopefully December the 14th. So this will obviously be valid for Chapter 3. And what we're going to do today is take a look at my recommendations for Thralls, or followers as we like to call them, or friends, whatever you want to call them, that you can use going forward in Chapter 3, because there are some changes going to be coming. Some people will like the change, some won't. And as you can tell behind me at the moment, there is an empty space here. That is because this first slot that I would have been recommending is actually in Chapter 3 going to be no longer viable, and that is the Cannibal Brute, and also Thugra, and also Unseen Hidden Daggers, or the Ritualist. They are the Defari faction, and as of Chapter 3, they are going to be having their modifiers pretty much chopped in half, so they'll be back to just like they were before. Yes, okay, any you've got now, if you've got them leveled up decently, will do okay for the minute, but they're not going to hit half as hard as what they did. So we're pretty much back to our old favourites. So I'm going to show you those in this video. So if we kick off on our list then, these aren't in any particular order, they're just the way I've placed them. So it doesn't mean that whoever I show you first then next is better than the previous. They're all just as good and just as viable. Just this was the first one I happened to place, and it's our good friend Mr. Leon, or Leon as he's called. This is still in Chapter 2, so he's still got all the same stats and percentage chances and health as he would have done. And as far as we know, these will all be pretty much the same. Still have the same damage modifiers as he did before. You can quite easily look them up on the wiki. If you just type his name in on there, it'll show you his damage modifiers. Fan favourite a lot of people. I've never really used him, I just prefer to use female followers, but I have used him in the past and he is pretty good. He's also pretty funny as well for his voice lines, so he is one of my recommendations going forward. If you're a fan of Leon, he's still pretty viable, so go ahead and pick him up. And also, yep, of course, she's still a favourite, she's still here, she's still going. Good old Delincia Snow Hunter. Again, still with all the same stats and health as before. Level her up good, give her some good vitality, get her in strength if you're lucky, and she'll still hit like a truck. So just like Leon, still another perfectly viable option. Big favourite of mine, I'll definitely be using more of those again, so keep that in mind. And then we kind of have a duo for our next choice. So if I just go in first person a minute, make this easier. Both look like twins because essentially they are Freya and Dina Master Huntress, and I'll show you at the end of this video where to get all these people from. These two are both archers, and the reason why I've included them, as many of you already know, if we take a look at their stats, they both come with the points in strength and vitality, and they can have pretty good high chances at leveling in strength and vitality as well. So you could either give them a strength bow, or like Delincia or Leon or anybody else, you could give them a strength weapon, like a mace for example, and they still hit pretty hard and they can have pretty good health. Same with Dina, she's exactly the same as Freya, once again another strength based archer, both perfectly viable. I have both of these as well, so I can definitely recommend them. Just maybe if you change the names, I would do, or at least put them in different outfits, because without looking at the name tag you can't really tell who's who. Yeah, there may be something there with that from the lore or something in the past that they're related in some way, but they both look very similar. So that is Freya and Dina Master Huntress. Then of course we come to our big old fan favourites that a lot of people like to use, and they're still really easy to get with a guaranteed spawn. Of course, in the male version and the female, the Cimmerian Berserker, and they still come with exactly the same health again and the same stats as usual, and they can also again be found in Mouse of the Dead still. I'll show you that location at the end of the video. As far as we know, nobody else is getting changed again, but who knows, there could be something hidden in there, and if that is the case, then I'll bring you an updated video to this in Chapter 3. But for the moment, everything seems set the way it is. So now we come to something a bit more interesting, because now, although these are all obtainable on the map, there are a couple of others that are obtainable on the map, but take a little bit more work to do. There's this young lady here, which I'll come back to in just a second. But you also have, on the entertainer side of things, 2 entertainers that are absolutely viable to get still. Both tier 4 named dancers. Lady on the left, Leah Neely, she has a chance to spawn at the Mounds of the Dead. She shares it with the other 3 tiers of dancers as well, so it's a little bit more trickier to get her, but you can now get lucky and get her in a purge if you're lucky, as with the young lady on the right there, and with the Seductress, a thrall from Isle of Sipter, but now available in Exile Lands from the purge, so you have a chance of getting one of those in the purge as well as a Morian dancer. And just for the benefit of those who don't know, again, that's their stats that they can roll with, so they're another strength based and vitality based dancer or entertainer. Tier 4s are perfectly good. Again, pretty good with a mace. I have done quite a lot of testing with this. If you give them something like Notice or Momentum or any other good hard hitting mace, they do pretty decent, so they're handy to have in a war party. As also is our young lady here, Leah Neely, again another tier 4 entertainer, once again strength based, and she can level up really good once again as a strength based hitter. Their damage modifiers are quite low, but if you are interested in all those sort of numbers, do check them out on the wiki, pretty easy to find. Although they look like they're only not very hard hitters, surprisingly when they're leveled up they do hit reasonably hard, and either of these are perfectly viable to pair up with. You could do a bearer if you wanted to, but typically you'd want to pair them with like Leon or Delincia, or maybe Freya or Dina, or Delincia even. Or you could potentially pair them up with our next young lady, who is also a decent follower. But if you want a decent dancer, these are probably 2, or certainly I've found 2 of the best tier 4s on the map that are the strongest. And then, as I mentioned briefly, we have this young lady here, Angela Dervish. If we take a look at her stats, as you can see there, once again strength based, very similar to the Berserker and our entertainers and Freya and Dina. But as you can see, she is an archer again, but pretty good once again, leveling up with strength based armor and a strength based weapon. I mean, you give her a bow if you like, but she's actually pretty good with a melee focus build. So give her sort of health armor, so Cimmerian steel, or any of the other heavy health based armor if you like, or use the setup that you've seen me use for mine. Gives her a nice boost to her damage, but she's pretty viable once again. She is one of the new ones, and she is available from the cages in the purge. If you happen to do a purge and you get lucky, you have a chance of getting her to spawn as well. There are a few others that you can get from the purge cages that I've not had a chance to really try out yet, but done some testing with Angela Dervish and she's pretty decent. Levels up fairly quick at first, but then takes a little bit longer, but does hit pretty decent, so pretty good to use as a single follower, well trained, so she gets a plus 20 and everything, as are any of these, but also would pair up nicely with an entertainer or even another fighter or archer to take you around the map to do your content. Okay then, so we're just on our map for this one, because it seems to be a little bit of a problem getting Leah to spawn, but it's around about here. And as you can see, it should be around here at this rock or tree. If I'm kind of at the right location, I'm sure it's around about here where she would normally spawn. She doesn't seem to have spawned at the moment for some reason. Round about on this spot, or it's not too far from here. If not, it's pretty easy to find. So that is where your dancer would be at the Mounds of the Dead. And here we are again at our next location. As you can see there, Cimmerian Berserker wandering off that way, and he will come back down this way eventually. But once again, if I zoom in, you can see where we are at Mounds of the Dead, just here. This is a guaranteed spawn. It will always be a Cimmerian Berserker in this spot. You can get male and female. You just have to keep killing them if you're after a female and it's a male, or vice versa. They should always be in this spot. They don't normally wander too far that way, but typically if you come up this way, they'll be within this body of water just here. So that is the Cimmerian Berserker. Still at the Mounds of the Dead, where I'm stood at the moment now, if you see this Fighter 3 that is sat on the floor next to me here, this is one of these spots where Dilling's Snow Hunter can spawn. As you can see, there are other people up here as well. Got another one here, you've got a bearer spot here, this is always a bearer. And then there's usually a fighter or somebody of some sort, usually a tier 3 stood here. And again, if I zoom in on the map, you can see where we are, just up on this little island here. Fly up a second just so that you can see. That's the main middle part of the map where the obelisk is over there, and then we're just on this island here. Quite dangerous to come on here, so use your purple orbs or have a good follower that has a lot of health that you can send up with a truncheon to knock everybody out first, because it can get quite chaotic on here. So just be prepared when you do. And sticking with the Mounds of the Dead, another spot where you see this guy walking around here. It can be another spawn for Delincia also. She can wander up and down there and around this area, and up there also she can be wandering around. She can also spawn in the little round buildings, I suppose you would call them. And she also has a chance to spawn up here at Stargazer's Crest, so there is a chance for her to spawn just at this little camp as well, which is just up from the Mounds of the Dead, as you can see just here, so always check that area out as well. But also with the new purge system, again, you do have a chance of getting a Delincia in the purge also as well. And then still not quite out of the rain, but at least away from the Mounds of the Dead now, you can see our good old friend Leon. He spawns up here next to this campfire by this little tower, and he is a guaranteed spawn, 100%, so this will always be Leon. And as you can see, we are just up here, and where it says this player mark, you'll see a little camp called Leon's Watch, so just below the dam. He is a 100% guaranteed spawn. As I say, you'll always get him from here at Leon's Watch. So then if you come down below the Great Dam, as you can see, which is just there on the map, see where we are, you'll find this young lady wandering here, Dina Master Huntress, who we mentioned. She'll wander all around this area, up behind this pillar a little bit, up in front of it, and also across towards that one. But when she gets to the other side of this pillar, you will notice there are a couple of wolves, and she will end up fighting them sometimes, and sometimes she will die to them. So if you want to try and knock her out, you want to try and kill the wolves across the other side, and then knock her out, hopefully if she doesn't fight you, but just be mindful of that when you come to find her. And then last but no means least, one of my favourites, another 100% guaranteed spawn, as is Dina and Leon. Our young friend here, Miss Freya, she is a guaranteed spawn once again. As you can see, she'll always be stood here looking out over this cliff. And then if I show you on the map just where we are, we're down here. And this little camp is called Freya's Hovel. There's also a crafter and a fighter just back there as well, usually a fighter of some sort at the fire, and then a crafter on the little blacksmith bench. As I say, Freya is also a guaranteed spawn. This is how she looks, and this is where you'll find her, so you can always get her at this little spot as well. Well, there we are then, guys. That just about wraps it up for this one. I hope you found that useful, hope you found it helpful. Let me know in the comments down below if you did. Let me know which are your favourites. Be interested to know who likes who for a follower. And leave a like if you did enjoy it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Why not take a look at the memberships while you're there? Just another way that you can help to support the channel moving forward, because we are a growing channel. And any physical support you can give by watching the videos or joining the live streams or commenting as you do, and also financial support if you can afford it, is very, very gratefully appreciated. Just helps us to improve and keep expanding on what we're doing. But as I say, that's it from me. Until I see you guys in the next one, take care, and I will see you all next time. Bye for now.